to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
What is going on, good kind of people? Lee Sanders with you guys for an all-new edition of the RCWR show for this July 7th, 2025. How the hell y'all doing? We're minutes removed from a all-new Monday Night RAW on Netflix. As man, WWE, AEW, just wrestling in general. This is a busy week. We got us a busy weekend that is going to be coming up. You almost would swear that maybe it is, I don't know, WrestleMania weekend to a certain extent. You guys picked a great night to tune in. We are going all over the place. You know how we've been doing it here on this show since 2011. Hope y'all had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. I know for me personally, it was a little busy, but it was definitely meaningful because in case you are not aware, you haven't been connected to me throughout social media, I had went through my last round of classes for the summer 1 semester, and I am now here in front of you right now, happy to tell you great news, which is not only have I wrapped up my final classes, but with that, I will be graduating with an associate's degree in media production, and I will be graduating with honors. My GPA throughout my whole tenure at community college, I've been able to maintain at least a 3.5 and above, and for me, I'm actually at a 3.7. So I was trying my best to get that 3.8 and up because you get highest honors, and all that is a big deal because not only is that recognized on your transcript apparently, but it's also put on your degree. So I'm like, but it's been a long journey, and I'm just happy that it's now over and done with. And I did a little bit of celebrating. Me and Tams, we went to this new restaurant over the weekend called First Watch. I don't know if the chain is maybe popular in your respected neck of the woods or if it's exclusively only a DC, Maryland, Virginia thing, but it's a great restaurant chain that opens typically at 7 a.m. and they go up until 2:30 in the afternoon, and they serve really good breakfast, lunch as well. But we went there, it was our first time over the weekend. We went there for the breakfast because every time we were turning around, we were always seeing lines out the ass. Just, people would be told, oh, it's going to take 45 minutes, in some cases 2 hours waiting for a table and all that. So Tams was like, what do you want to do this weekend? And originally I said, well, let's go to Matchbox. Shout out if you know Matchbox. I said, let's go to Matchbox. But then I read the reviews and I was like, I don't know about that one. And I said, hon, I don't know, these reviews for Matchbox. She's like, so what do you want to do? I said, well, let's do First Watch. We've always wanted to go there, so we went there. Fantastic. I did something new. I got out of my comfort zone. It's always good to try something new. I did a egg Benedict. I never done that before. And I had mines with some salmon. that was put on it. So that was pretty cool. And I had a side of salad with that. So that was pretty cool. Tams did buttermilk biscuits and gravy, hash browns. Actually, no, not hash browns. She did potatoes. There was something else. Oh, she had scrambled eggs. So it was really good. Try to see if it's maybe in your respected area. But that's how we celebrated. Little quiet mini celebration and everything. Of course, we're gonna be having to get together with some of our friends because some of our friends they want to celebrate in my milestone and all that. So what's next? I'm chilling for the rest of the summer, getting my work on, making that money. But then in the fall, I'll be transferring to UMD for my major in journalism. So I am fantastic. I had went through a orientation process and all of that for that. So yeah, so busy, quiet, but pretty busy at the same time. But yes, officially, I've earned my associates in media production. Very excited. My car is still in the shop. Those guys have now had it for a week, and I'm just patiently waiting for them to give me a diagnostic on what's going on, how much it's going to cost, most importantly. So, was expecting to hear something from them today. No Moss, unfortunately. No Moss. But 4th of July, otherwise, very quiet. You know, I tell you what, the fireworks, it wasn't as bad I thought it was going to be, especially in this house when you've got three dogs running around. Neighbors were pretty cool. They were pretty cool. It was a very quiet weekend for a 4th of July. I gotta say, so nice, good food, nice downtime, nice vibes. Oh, yeah, you were with me all last week. I had said to you guys I had a terrible experience with the Rode Video Go Mic 2 when I was doing the Capitol Emmys, and man, it was a headache. And so I heard from a friend of the show, and he was like, Lee, checked you out, heard what happened with the Rode Video Mic Go. Dude, I got the perfect solution for you. I'm like, yeah? So yeah. Check this out. You're going to love this. Check out the Sennheiser MKE 400. I'm like, okay. It's basically a shotgun mic. And he's like, look, it's ready for you to use off the break if you want to just go with a phone setup like you were doing at the Capitol Emmys. But when you eventually transition into getting a camera, you'll be ready to go. I'm like, okay, all right, bet. He's like, and the best part, there's a ton of videos on YouTube showing you of the outdoor experience. So you'll get a better idea what it's about as opposed to what was happening there with the road. I said, okay. He's like, but most importantly, I know you care about doing stuff like Awesome Con, Comic Cons, live events, Capital Emmy, stuff like that. It's like, this will do wonders for you. So you got to try it out. So it came in the mail a couple of days ago. So I'm very excited to try this out. Give you guys a little bit of an idea how this looks. Now I got big hands, but as you can see, this is a pretty thick, kind of long bad boy that you got going on here. And I love that you got this cold shoe mount that you can screw on there to any type of a tripod or if you got that camera thing going on. So I'll let you guys know how it all operates because I've yet to try this out, but I will very soon. We're going to talk, of course, about WWE Raw. We also got a ton of wrestling news to dive into as well. We're gonna get into all of that in just a hot little bit. But your man over here got to show the DMV some love because man, fireworks in the nation's capital, that wasn't the only thing that was popping over here, man. And just entertainment wise in general, when you look at it nationwide, across the USA and everything. I mean, for starters, we had the beautiful, the talented, the lovely, the voluptuous Beyonce coming through here to the DC metropolitan region for her Cowboy Carter tour. She had residency here for not one but 2 nights, and it was just mad galore, crazy. I was talking to a couple of friends and trying to hear from them about their experience and all that. I actually asked Tams some weeks back if she wanted to go check out Beyonce, and she was like, because Tam's a big. She loves her country. She loves her country music. She also is a fan of pop, particularly 80s, 80s pop, 90s pop, classic rock, and all that. But when I asked her about Beyonce, she said, "Not that incarnation." I'm like, "Huh?" She's like, "Yeah, like, come on, man." She's like, even for her to even like come in, I must say I was quite taken back. She goes, "Nah." She's like, "What she doing? That ain't real country." I'm like, "Really?" It's like, "Yeah, man, no, I'm not messing with that." Like, "Are you sure? Like, have you at least listened to a couple of songs?" It's like, "Yeah, I listened to a couple of songs." "Nah, I ain't doing that." Like, "Okay, all right, I hear you. I hear you." So, but I offered to take her. She's like, "Nah, I'm good." So it's like, okay, cool. But let's see, like a lot of people had tons of fun going to the Beyonce concert. Not to mention, over the weekend we had the icon himself, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath reuniting, and this was the original four. And the original four have not been together on the same stage in over 20 years. So they all got together as there was this great big concert that went down. It was a 10 plus hour event, a 10 plus hour live event. And what was really cool, if you couldn't be there in person, it was actually available for you to stream. You just had to pay $30 and you were able to enjoy the stream. That's a good deal, right? Only thing that kind of sucks about that is the fact that you only had access to the stream after the initial live play for 48 hours to watch for VOD, and then it's gone forever. I think that kind of sucks. I wish they would give you the ability to also download and, hey, this stream is yours, right, for your private collection or whatever like that, because you basically have bought into. But here's to hoping that in the coming months all of that will be available on DVD, Blu-ray, and all that, because that would be a really cool piece of history to own and everything. So I know there was a little bit of confusion that was going on with some people. They were like, "Well, wait a minute, didn't Black Sabbath do a final tour like back in 2017?" Yeah, they did, but it wasn't the original four. So it was a big deal. Now, look, I'll admit to you guys, seeing Ozzy perform and everything, my heart broke just a little bit because I know he's up there in age and everything that was going on with him health wise. It was kind of sad to watch because I couldn't help but feel that way. I felt literally just how I had watched Phil Collins and Genesis, and when it came to their last show, and just seeing Phil Collins, it was like, what a sad way to kind of go out here and everything. Like, and I told Tams then, because we both are huge Genesis and Phil Collins fans, we're like, not how we need to remember him. Like, nah, man, like that was just, but the way that I was talking to some people behind the scenes, and it was like, "Lee, that was really rough to watch. That was quite sad." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you." It's like this just came off like nothing but a big cash cow moment right here for everybody involved. And some folks that I spoke to, and I know there's some chatter on social media. Some people were like, "Man, Sharon Osbourne, does she have no shame? Like, what the hell is wrong with this woman?" And I don't really think it's all on Sharon Osbourne. I think it's mainly on Ozzy and just realizing the health complications that he has, and it's just everything that he's been battling over the years. I'm sure he's probably been very reflective over these last 15 years, seeing the amount of people that's no longer with us, and in some cases, people that should still be with us, right? And they're not. This was probably just his, while still alive, can still get those flowers. Let's go out strong. And so, man, I love seeing Hellstorm, Metallica, Pantera. Love seeing Steven Tyler. Steven Tyler, who I know was having a lot of vocal issues over the past couple of years. Ooh, man, to see him back on the stage, and I mean, for a guy in his 70s, that voice is still iconic. He still kicks ass. I think he needs to go into the studio, right, and do something with Aerosmith already. That'd be pretty badass. But it was a great who's who, some really solid performances. Let's not also forget Oasis. Oasis kicking off their limited tour. It kicked off on 4th of July. Saw some of the highlights from that, and man, I tell you what, it seemed like the brothers never missed a step. I was having flashbacks to when I was in high school, and I remember there wasn't a person who I did not know that did not have what's the story Morning Glory album. You know the album I'm talking about. It's got the brothers on the cover. One's going in one direction, the other's going in the opposite direction. They're kind of like passing each other by, and it looks like a little bit of a distorted kind of image. Like, I didn't know anybody that did not have that album, and just a lot of fond memories of Oasis. And it really feels like, as far as rock music goes, it really feels as though it's stronger, and it's thriving, and it's better than ever with just some of these acts that's running around. But Oasis, with Oasis, it felt like they never left. It felt, my God, it was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. So we had that going down. Some very interesting stuff. Some very interesting stuff, I got to say. Also, big congratulations to Keith David, the actor, voice actor. I mean, what hasn't this guy been in? I mean, my God, Spawn, Todd McFarlane. You think about Gargoyles. I mean, what hasn't this guy been in? But he's got, when you look at his IMDb, he is just in the hundreds to hundreds of roles. He's going to be getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So congratulations to him. Also, we didn't mention it when we were last on the air, but legendary composer responsible for the Mission Impossible theme, Dirty Harry, and more, Lalo Schreffen, he passed away. We also lost the great Michael Madsen of Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, the Hateful Eight. He passed away. Just I don't know what the heck was going on with that, but it's been surreal. Just wow, this guy, he died? Like, really? One thing that I liked about Michael Madsen is anytime you saw him in a movie, you knew exactly what you were going to get, as far as, wait, he's in this? Oh, he's going to give me something memorable. I can just kick back and I can be just in Marvel. I can just be all with the guy. And you always got that with Michael Madsen, always giving you a memorable performance and everything. So also, there was some breaking news that went down a couple of hours ago. Wrestling news wise, I want to send a heartfelt I'm thinking about you, brother, you and your family. I want to send a shout out to Teddy Long and his respective family, friends, and colleagues. Apparently, Teddy Long's son passed away. Some of the pictures that's floating around online of the son, I hate to speculate on his age because there's no information out there on how old Teddy Long's son was, but the son looks as though he was maybe in his late 30s to mid 40s, give or take. He passed away. There's like no other information that's known right now. A lot of well-respected wrestling news media outlets have been able to confirm on Teddy Long's son's passing. But no additional information is known right now. Pretty much, if you had peeked your head trying to see like everything that you're seeing right now, it still stands. Nothing new that's available. His son did not go into the wrestling business like his dad, but he was very big on nutrition, health, and fitness. Very big on that, thrived in that big time. One of the last pictures that is in circulation is apparently of him at a Planet Fitness or some gym, and you're like, wow. So kind of crazy what's going on there. Let's get to the talk of WWE Raw and some more wrestling news. I got some more entertainment news, but we're gonna just throw that at you for now. We'll circle on back to some more of that entertainment, non-entertainment stuff. So wrestling news wise, again, I mentioned at the very top a very busy week for wrestling fans, for the wrestling industry in general. Definitely, if you are a WWE fan, not only do we have WWE Raw that's now in the books, but we've got NXT coming up this Tuesday. We've also got a new Evolve show. We've got Friday Night SmackDown. We've got Saturday night's main event. We have NXT's Great American Bash and the bookend to the weekend. Everything wrapping up on Sunday. We've got the WWE Evolution event. We've also got from AEW All In Texas. I mean, this is a loaded up weekend. Have you figured out how everything is going to be mapping out as far as your viewing experiences go? Have you figured out if you're going to be checking everything out in the coming days, or are you going to be cherry picking? Sound off, let me know. But as far as tonight's Monday Night Raw goes, pretty well-rounded show that kind of left me a little bit concerned for this workload that WWE has coming up, because particularly what you really want to focus on is the fact that they've got shows on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they're going right into Monday, right? And then Tuesday. So they're going to have 5 consecutive days back to back there of live programming, and it is a feat, let me tell you. It is a feat. I know somehow WWE always manages to pull it off and everything, but it really seems like a workload, and I can't wait to see, particularly quality wise, how Triple H and crew are going to be able to navigate those waters successfully and keep the quality of the content, up there where majority of the fans are satisfied and everything. Pat McAfee nowhere in sight yet again. And we've gotten to a point now, you notice for those first couple of weeks, we would get Pat McAfee not here this week, and now we don't even get that at all, as Corey Graves is just, hey, join along with Corey Graves. And I am legit happy for Corey Graves. I legit am, because this man, I have always felt was overall a solid commentator, but even I have admitted here on this show in the past that it kind of seems like Corey is getting a little bit burned out, because I remember a period there where this guy was doing Raw, he was doing SmackDown. The dude was also doing a podcast, and then he was doing a little reality show with his wife Carmella. This guy was all over the place on a weekly basis, and eventually over time, I was able, just like many of you all, we were able to see that this guy was starting to get burned out and everything. And so once they started scaling back there, it did kind of seem like he was going through the motions just a little bit, but not from the standpoint of, I'm tired of this company, I'm tired of, but it was kind of interesting, seeing him navigate those waters. But then for sure, once Pat McAfee slid in there, that definitely, and look, anybody would feel that way, because apply that, what was happening there with Pat McAfee and Corey, apply that to the real world. Anybody that has worked for an extended period of time, for a good number of years in various positions, knows that feeling all too well, when you think you're thriving, you are succeeding in your position, and then somebody else comes in and you're basically told, hey, show this person the ropes, or this person's going to be shadowing you, or some weird, you're like, damn, did I do something wrong? Is there something that, like, I'm doing that my bosses aren't telling me about? Like, damn, am I about to be replaced or something? What exactly what's going on here? And so you start to feel insecure. Because you're wondering what exactly is going on with your future. Are you on the chopping block or something? Is it time for you to start looking for another gig or whatnot? So I would imagine a lot of those things had kind of went on the mind of Corey Graves and everything. And I know he was taking his little jabs on social media. I tell you what, I'm really glad Cole and WWE. I'm really glad they essentially sat down with this man and they were able to hammer things out and everything, because this man, as of late, he has been on a roll with his commentary. And I'm at a point right now where, and I had let it be known earlier tonight, I said, Corey, just let him be right there, always with Michael Cole. Let them do everything at this point in regards to Pat McAfee, because he's got young kid and he's got his wife, his lovely wife. He's got his commitments with his show. He's also got commitments with college football when that's at play, and then NFL when that's at play. Just let him pop up for rare occasions. And I saw the most dumbest comment to my comment, which was, or you can just let him be with Corey Graves and Michael Cole and make it be a three-man booth. No, my friend. No, my friend. Like, you're missing the whole damn point. It's going over your head. What I'm saying, and people, look, like, that's a really dumb comment to make. I'm not saying that the person that made that comment is dumb. The comment that was made is dumb. And here's the reason why. If a person is already having a really hard time juggling multiple hats and they've gotten to a point in their life where they're going, you know what? Less is more. Let me just, I got to scale back a little bit. The answer isn't, okay, well then let's just bring them in and let them do a three-man booth. Like, no, that's not the answer. Not for anything, but Pat McAfee has proved that he can thrive with it just being him and one other person. And for those rare times where it has been a three-man booth, he has shown that he can thrive in that as well. It's not the issue. Understand something, folks. The issue is not whether, hey, will a two-man or a three-man, will that help out Pat McAfee? No, that's not the issue. The real issue is, okay, Pat McAfee, can he keep working these dates on top of everything else? And, as we're seeing, apparently Pat cannot. He's burned out. And so keeping that in mind, if you're WWE, yeah, I think that you have to continue to do a good job, a better job by Pat McAfee, and really kind of protecting that aura of what made him so cool, what made a lot of fans resonate and connect with him. And I think that the key going forward is to definitely utilize Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, for me, is like that nice piece of candy. Maybe a Weathers original. Is that the candy that's running around? Maybe something like that. You treat yourself once in a while to those nice, delicious candies. Just think of your favorite candy, whatever your favorite candy is, that you treat yourself to once in a while, right? And you're like, oh, that hit the spot. That's just what I needed. Now, just imagine if you're doing that same candy every day or every week, eventually, and you're having it the same way, right? Eventually, you get a little, and that's exactly what's been happening with Pat on top of everything else. It happens with the best. So hopefully, Michael Cole in the game, that's the mindset that they have as far as how they want to try to utilize Pat McAfee going forward. But before anybody starts having these conversations about, is that it for Pat? Is Pat done in the WWE? No. Pat's not done. Pat will be back. Matter of fact, I've got Pat being back. I wouldn't be surprised if Pat, well, we know for certain with Saturday night's main event that's going to be coming up, I would think that Pat is going to somehow be incorporated with that. Because the past few Saturday night main events, we've had Pat McAfee. So I'd be very shocked if Pat McAfee had nothing to do with this coming up weekend Saturday night's main event. But if Pat's not involved in any of the stuff that's going to be going down over the next 5 days, then I would say definitely look out for McAfee when it comes to SummerSlam. So keep your fingers crossed if you're a Pat McAfee fan as far as what happens. But great job by Corey Graves this week, as always. Judgment Day still in their honeymoon phase with Roxanne Perez as the newest official Judgment Day member and everything. And I love how Roxanne had a little bouquet of flowers that was surrounding a picture of Liv Morgan, who's still out on injury. And I just love Roxanne Perez coming in there right on cue going, wait, she's not dead. Like, she's just injured. You know, she's going to be back in no time. And Finn Balor, right at the drop on cue. Well, remember, I injured my arm and I was out for damn near a year. So that's not going to be an easy feat for Liv. But yeah, I kind of like the way we got this decor set up of her and everything. And yeah, it did kind of seem like she died though, right? I would have settled for a big ass fat head personally. Just get yourself a nice big old cutout of Liv Morgan. Have that be right there for the homegirl. I would have settled for that instead, but they I know what they were trying to go for, and it worked very well. They were trying to go for the comedic relief, and it definitely worked. There was a cake that was there, which Dom noticed, and he was thanking the crew for the cake, and all of them were like, "Yeah, nah, we didn't get that cake. I thought that was you." Like, nah, I thought that was you. Well, I thought it was nah. Like, and it turns out the person that got the cake was AJ Styles, because finally Dom decided to read what was going on there with the cake. Cake had read "Get well soon, AJ," and it turns out AJ was hiding behind some equipment, and he poked his little head out doing the "I'm watching you" gesture to Dom. Dom quickly reminding AJ, yo, I still got my doctor's note. You can't touch me right now. So nice little continuation here of this running gag. I think everything is going to culminate a match between the two at SummerSlam. I think eventually that's what's going to happen. I would say over the course of the next 2, maybe 3 weeks max, we're going to get some scenario where Dom continues egging it in there with the doctor's note or whatnot, but I got Dom somehow being exposed. I'd like to see them take a different approach to the whole exposure thing. Maybe they could do something along the lines of where Adam Pearce, maybe he somehow goes, hey, I did some further research on this doctor that signed off on your, like, and this person does not exist, or this person is actually a TikTok influencer, or some weird crap like that, and that's how Dom ultimately gets exposed. Be nice if we kind of went in that direction. How would you like to see Dominic Mysterio get exposed and it sets up the match between he and AJ? Should it happen at SummerSlam, or would you like to see things play out between the two on a future episode of Monday Night Raw? Sound off, let me know. Meanwhile, American Made having a conversation with Raw General Manager Adam Pearce. Ivy now wants in on the Evolution Battle Royale, to which Adam Pearce goes, baby, you got it. So she's in. Speaking of which, we're going to know more of the participants, I believe, from the NXT side that's going to be in the Evolution Battle Royale, thanks to Ava. If you are going to be home or whatnot, if not, set your DVR, check out NXT this week, because basically we're going to get the announcement. And the way it kind of seemed, you could take the announcement like 2 ways. Either they're going to go through the full rundown of all the women that's going to be at the Evolution Battle Royale, or it's just going to be, hey, these are the NXT girls that's going to be. I kind of felt under the impression it was going to be who all is going to make this Battle Royale. I look, when we go later on into the show, previewing, because there's a lot of stuff that's got to be previewed. We're not going to go over match predictions on this show, because if we were to go over match predictions, like, my God, this would be a 3.5 to 4 hour show. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. Brother getting a little older. I like that sleepy sleep. But first, watch the news. But yeah, so we got that going on. Meanwhile, we find out that El Grande Americano is going to be in action tonight. And I don't know the name of the Creed brother. I always forget his name. I don't know if it's Julius or if it was Brutus, but I love and I mean this in all respect, but the goofy Creed brother. I love how he goes, "Hey, come on, how can El Grande Americano have a match? I mean, he's injured. I mean, come on." And Adam Pearce is like, "Oh, so now we're kind of getting to the heart of things as far as the identity of Grande Americano. And you got the rest of American made. They're trying to shut him up and everything. And Ivy Now's like, hey, Chad Gable is not going to be pleased that El Grande Americano is having this match. Like he shouldn't be." And Adam Pearce is like, and why exactly should Chad Gable be concerned about this? Why would Chad Gable be upset? And you got that Creed brother. Oh, because isn't it obvious? It's obvious why Chad would be upset. So interesting seeds that we have basically planted here, because you're almost under the impression, and rightfully so, you're under the impression that American Made was not spoken to at all about, hey, look, while Chad is away, the El Grande Americano gimmick, that's going to keep going, because this guy, it almost feels as though Ludwig Kaiser, for whatever his reasoning is, he has adopted himself as Grande Americano. And it's like, well, if Chad Gable has a problem with it, he can eventually see him about that. Like, it's very interesting, the dilemma that we got going on here. So I love what I'm seeing, and of course, in real life, Chad Gable, he actually got some surgery done. It looks like. So I'm assuming he's going to be out for a couple of months. But then, it's kind of interesting because, not for nothing, but when you make your rounds looking at what's going on the wrestling news beat and everything like that, you're like, well, wait, are we even sure that Chad Gable is injured? Like, what exactly is going on with Chad Gable and everything? And yeah, I hear you guys on that as far as what's going on with him. But by all looks of it, it would appear that Chad Gable is actually injured, as he did provide a health date on social media. Shout out to the good folks over there at Sportskedia, as he took the Instagram, did Chad Gable, to share a message saying "Beautiful Sunday." And it was a picture that he shared of some work that was done on his shoulder, and like right up under his shoulder, like in between the pectoral muscle and the beginning of the bicep. It looks like some stuff was done right there. So as far as how long this guy is going to be out, who knows? Maybe this is a case where it's 3 months. Maybe it's a case where it's 6 months. Your guess is as good as mine, but he's going to be definitely out for the foreseeable future. So if the whole purpose right now is not only to keep the Grande Americano gimmick running strong, adding in the comedic relief and everything, which I'm totally down for, and it was on full display tonight in Americano's match against Penta, but also at the same time telling the tale of two Americanos. How about that? Two visions of America. One person sees America this way, and the other, very interesting. Like, not to get too right, but when you really stop and think about it, this is America, I won't do that again, I promise. Shout out to our shout out to our audio listeners. Our audio listeners are probably like, what the hell did he just do? Like, you got to be watching the live stream to find out there. So speaking of that match, by the way, Grande Americano taking on Dragon Lee. Solid matchup. Americano picking up the W under 7 minutes. Uh, but good match. It was actually a fun match, fun little entertaining joint that I liked. And look, I love the fact that the way that match had ended. There we go with that damn steel plate sliding right up under the mask in the forehead there as Dragon Lee had did a flip dive onto Americano, but Americano followed up with a running headbutt, pretty much knocking Dragon Lee out cold for the victory. So the Americano streak, essentially continues on there. The new Dangerous Alliance, meanwhile, they were on display tonight. They actually kicked off the show. I loved hearing how basically they were putting out their mission statement for tonight, which was, yo, Sami Zayn, freaking Penta. Actually, no, not Penta. Forgive me. Actually, it was. Actually, no. I think I am remembering right. I'm sorry. I'm not thinking about Penta. I'm thinking. Man, I got my Max guys mixed up. It happens. Forgive me, folks. But no, main event match. It was Penta taking on Seth Rollins. You can understand how I can get my guys mixed up, especially my Max guys. But from Penta to the talk of Sami Zayn to Jey Uso, the mission statement by Seth Rollins and his new entourage: we're cleaning house tonight. We're taking no prisoners. And they went 3 for 3 tonight. All those guys in their respective matches, they all did one hell of a sweep tonight. And huh? Interesting. Interesting. I'm just now getting a message back, and I'm gonna have to respond to that. Something not show related, but it is connected to me entertainment wise. So more on that later. Sorry about that distraction, y'all. But yeah, let's talk about Jey Uso taking on Bronson Reed. This was pretty much all about Bronson Reed putting a hurting on Jey Uso. That's what this was about in a nutshell. Final moments, Jey Uso trying to go for a dive, but Bronson tosses a chair into Jey. That pretty much got Big Bronson the disqualification. This literally, from the moment that this match began, this was Bronson Reed really dominating, but the main story was this dude just trying to cause damage. And then it was tsunami time. Bronson hitting up Jey with 2 tsunamis before Adam Pearce and the agents came running out, trying to take control of the situation here. But that's what that was all about in a nutshell. And then earlier on in the night, we had Braun Breaker who just wreaked havoc on Sami Zayn, but not for nothing. Braun Breaker did get some help from Karrion Kross. Sami Zayn, we were seeing him earlier in the night as he was still pretty banged up, bandaged up around the ribs, as he was asked by Jackie Redmond, yo, how are you able to do this? How are you able to continue to keep fighting on like this? And all I was thinking at that point was chocolate donuts. Shout out if you catch that joke. But no, Sami Zayn's like, hey, I just, it's in my DNA. I just don't know when to quit. And, Braun Breaker can say whatever he wants. He can talk about how he doesn't like my hair, my beard. He doesn't like my body because it's obvious I don't go to the gym. He don't like my music. Like, that's all fine and dandy. But yeah, he gonna put some respect on my name because I'm gonna show him Karrion Kross and what he did to him last week to Sami Zayn. Far as Sammy was concerned, he's going to deal with him at a later date. Well, Karrion pretty much made it be his mission statement to let Sammy know, nah, my man, you going to take care of me right now. As he came from behind Sammy once again with a steel pipe, taking it to the back, taking it to the ribs again, was getting ready to go upside the head when Adam Pearce and crew came out. By the way, shout out to Adam Pearce. It's that fine attention to detail that I really love. And one of the things that I love about Adam Pearce as an on-screen character, even if it's in a authority role, I love the fact that Adam Pearce is the one guy. He is not scared. He doesn't care how big you are, how tall you are. I've never seen Adam Pearce back down and be like, yo, I can't, let me cower. I love that Adam Pearce is just always, okay, all right, this is how you're going to do it? Okay, I'll tell you what, this is how we're going to do it then. Boom, yeah, there's your match. Go handle your business. No, we're not going to do that out here. You want to do something? Okay, go in the ring right now. Go have at it. Hey, I'm going to make this match for next week. Go, nah, the pay-per-view. Like, I like how he never cowers, right? And so, to my point, I love how he got and carrying across his face. Because remember, Carrion is a big dude now. He's a big dude. But I love how Pierce got in his face, yanked that steel pipe away from Carrion, and tossed it. And you know what was so beautiful about that toss? It's the little things. It's the little things. I love that when Pierce tossed that joint, how it made a doing clump to let you know that was a real pipe. I love that. I love that. See, it's all in a way with how you do foreign objects and selling the illusion that this person got hit and all that. And then meanwhile, somebody comes along, yoink, toss, clunk, pling, right? Good stuff. Good stuff right there. I love that. So these guys not done. These guys not done by any stretch. Last week we saw Bailey and Lyra. They both were in a weird position there where, we were supposed to get a winner that was supposed to face Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship. Didn't happen, unfortunately, but, now it's basically a triple threat and everything. We did see the girls trying to chat it up. I honestly, this was rough to listen to when it was all said and done. I was ready to move on. I was. I know a lot of you guys, and they're all talented in their own right, but this segment, probably one of the weakest moments of the night, I would have to say. Definitely one of the weakest moments of the night. War Raiders looking to get another opportunity to move up in the tag team division, ultimately wanting to win back their tag titles. New Day, meanwhile, they were dressed in all black, had the veils going on over their faces. They're mourning over the fact that they don't have their titles right now. And War Raiders kind of putting a little challenge out there to the New Day. So we'll see what happens with that. Becky Lynch and her association with New Day these past couple of weeks, it's kind of interesting because we saw her tonight, and she walked up to New Day and shook their hands and told them how she sympathized with them and she was sorry for their loss. And I'm like, go ahead, man, go ahead. I loved it. I popped pretty big seeing that type of stuff, and I see little stuff like that. I like that, especially when it involves Becky. Like, yeah, I like that, but this other stuff that we got going on with Bailey and Lyra, I'm sure the match will be good for what they're going to be doing at Evolution. I'm sure the match is going to be good. Speaking of Evolution and women, there was a Nikki Bella promo. Nikki Bella basically is going to be involved in the Battle Royale, the Evolution Battle Royale. She is looking to prove to her son, to the fans, and everybody else that she can still hang, she can still get the job done. She wants to become a women's champion, and she feels that journey for her, everything is gonna start with that Battle Royale at Evolution. So that's where she's going to be going. She wants to also prove to the other women across NXT, like everybody, just everybody in WWE. She wants to prove to them, while making a statement, yo, y'all going to respect me. You ain't going to do like Liv Morgan and a few other people and think you can, disrespect me and all that. No. That's not how we're doing this. Some other in-ring action. Roxanne Perez taking on Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane picking up the win. Um, yeah, a lot of sloppiness that was going on in this matchup. To be perfectly honest, a lot of miscues, a lot of bad timing. Some of the stuff that they were trying to go for in here, the execution is just, I don't know. Maybe the more that they face one another and there's just that continuation of dialogue, maybe over time, right? Maybe that can happen. Roxanne Perez, Raquel post match getting a beat down in there on Kairi Sane when all of a sudden Oscar came out doing a nice big save. Even at that, when Oscar came out, it was definitely sloppy, a little clunky going on there between Oscar and Raquel. There was one spot particular where I thought for sure there was going to be an accident waiting to happen when Oscar latched on to the right arm of Raquel, and Raquel basically went over to the top rope. I thought something really bad was about to happen there, but it seemed that everything luckily worked out the way it was supposed to work out, and dodge a serious bullet right there. So we had that go down. Later on in the night, Oscar, Kairi Sane, they went to Adam Pierce and they basically were like, look, you know, we're tired of this crap that's going on with Raquel and Roxanne Perez. We need something to be done about it. So, and they also talked about how they wanted to get a shot at the women's tag titles. So Adam Pierce thought of a really cool idea. He was like, okay, well, tell you what, how about y'all reform the Kabuki Warriors and I'll put you in the Fatal Four Way dance for Roxanne and Raquel's tag titles. Like, yeah, we're down. So when we get ready to preview that card, by the way, for Evolution, we'll give you a full rundown what all you can expect. So, a nice development there as far as Evolution goes. See, other than that, going through the rest of tonight's Raw, looking, I think there's one more match we need to talk about, and then beyond that, we are pretty much. Did we talk about Braun Breaker? And yeah, we talked about Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn. Yeah, he messed that man up. Braun just out there killing people left and right. Like I'm loving it. I'm loving it. By the way, letting Braun Breaker get some talk time earlier in the night to kick off Monday Night Raw. That was a nice touch and change of pace there. I did enjoy that because not for nothing, the man can talk. The man can talk. Less is better, which was definitely what we got with Braun on the microphone tonight. Penta taking on Seth Rollins. That was your main event match. Seth Rollins picking up the win. A little bit over 10 minutes there. Closing moments of that one. Penta tries to go for a setup, but Rollins heads butt him in the crotch. Somehow the referee misses out on this. Curb stomp follows up. 1, 2, 3. Fun main event match. Nice seeing Penta continuing to get these opportunities. And even if it's on the losing end, he is still, every opportunity that this guy is getting, he is crushing it. Definitely, you know, for the longest time, WWE was in this position where it just seemed, as far as max luchadors go, Rey Mysterio, Rey Mysterio, Rey Mysterio. But, now we're at a point where it's like, nah, man, we got Penta. Okay, we got Penta. Like, we don't need Ray no more. Like, hey, it sucks he's injured right now and everything, but look, man, we got Penta. We good. And yeah, he is quickly rising up the ranks there. Post match, Bronson, they started coming down to the ring because they were looking to add insult to injury there on Penta. Seth Rollins salivating at that idea when from out of nowhere Seth Rollins gets attacked from behind. Turns out it was by LA Knight. LA Knight hitting him with the blunt force trauma, then rolling out there. Nice little spot. Nice little spot right there that went down. of course, highlighting and putting more emphasis on their upcoming Saturday night's main event match going down this weekend and everything. So that should be a fun matchup. Speaking of Saturday night's main event, WWE redeemed themselves big time when it came to Goldberg and Gunther. Remember, we were here a couple of weeks ago talking about how that was off to a bit of a rocky start. Although kind of cool and everything, but off to a little bit of a weak start. But WWE definitely redeemed themselves these past 2 weeks, particularly one with the sit down interview with Michael Cole, and then we follow that up with this week where Gunther comes out talking hot trash, mentioning the fact that, these past couple of weeks, I've been bad mouthing Goldberg, and what's been happening with this dude? How has this man responded? Well, that's just it. He hasn't responded at all, which says to me that this dude is a coward. And I love how they just immediately they didn't even have Michael Cole go, guys, I got breaking news. Like something's going on in the back. Let's cut to the. We didn't even get that. We just do an abrupt cut to show this cool kick ass red. I don't know if that was a Corvette or what, but we see it's Goldberg and just the way he is putting some when he is turning that bad boy and he's trying to stop. And then he gets out of that joint. I like, oh, see, I wish that's how we would have had it a couple of weeks ago when Gunther first started talking trash about Goldberg. Right down to the point, I wish it actually would have been a case where maybe Goldberg was spotted with some friends and cameras could have caught up to him before the show. Yeah, just happened to be in the area, doing a little project, da 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 da. Right, but no, all said and done, WWE redeemed themselves these past couple of weeks, especially right here. Goldberg coming right out and pretty much telling Gunther straight up, because you were able to read his lips, and I'm paraphrasing, but he pretty much was like, talk your game now. Week after week, you've been running your mouth. Talk that game now. I'm standing right here in front of you. Go ahead. Just what I thought. You ain't nothing but a punk ass. Like, you ain't going to do nothing. Here, I'll even give you a shot. Like, and Goldberg gave him a free chance to take a hit. Gunther did try to take advantage. He missed. Swing and a miss. Goldberg knocking him on his ass. Then tried to go for the spear. Gunther escaping it in time. Nice, good stuff that they laid down here for this. The talk and the build going into what's going on with fans, expectations and all that, heading into the Saturday night's main event, Evolution, just all of that stuff. I thought WWE, compared to the previous weeks, we could be in agreement, kind of rough around the edges. Some would even say downright weak. But it seemed like WWE was really trying to put more emphasis on building up. I thought they did a solid job tonight. Bron, particularly, Bron Breakker did a really good job on the microphone. I got to say, I give him mad props. Much better than I had anticipated. I mean, he showed me where he is as far as the development of his promos and all that. From weeks to a couple of months back, he's definitely rising very, very quickly. And even Bronson Reed, for what it's worth. I know he's got the accent going on and everything, but even he managed to get a little better for the little bit that he was briefly talking on the microphone out there tonight. But, and you know what, with how they did Goldberg, I did not mind them having Goldberg for the brief little bit of time that we saw him. I didn't mind how they essentially had Goldberg come out there. Nah, son, I ain't talking no more. I'm ready to whoop ass. Like, what's up? I like that. That was a very, very nice touch in itself. So, some good developments that you got going on here, setting up the great week/weekend of programming that WWE has going on. I asked you guys on Twitter, because we got an exclusive poll on Twitter. Did not do this on YouTube, because I gave YouTube a original and exclusive poll. I'll tell you about that in a hot second. Has nothing to do with WWE Raw, but it does have to do with the future of the shows. I'll share that with you guys in a hot minute. Anyway, see what you guys had to say over on Twitter at the RCWR show. Right now, I'm seeing 17% of you all are saying that you did not enjoy this week's WWE Raw. Didn't enjoy it at all. 33% of you felt it was a average show. And 50% of you thought it was a awesome show. Appreciate those of you that had cast your votes. Much love. And as far as that YouTube poll goes that I was teasing, so here's the deal on that. If you've been noticing the past couple of weeks, I have been doing just Raw exclusive talk only shows on Mondays. And usually in the middle of the week, we've been doing a bonus show that's been going more all over the place, wrestling, headlines, news, all that good stuff. And so I have a poll that's up right now on YouTube, letting you guys know basically, hey, now that my current semester is now in the books, I haven't graduated, I get to chill for the summer until the fall semester kicks in. Would you like permanently going forward the Monday only shows and a bonus show, or like what say you guys? So your options are Monday Raw only and bonus show later in the week. And then we've got keep the show on Mondays going all over the place. So I want to just get a gauge on where you all are. So whether you check out the live web streams to watch me, or you're listening to the audio for on demand and the downloads, definitely go to youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the post section and let your voices be heard. And I will definitely take that into great consideration, strong consideration. Because I know at the end of the day, before anybody jumps out there and says it, I know at the end of the day, the way the shows need to go down, it's really all about what's going on with my respected schedule and all that. How's it looking for me? And so ultimately, I definitely got to go with, well, what works best for me. But I definitely want to get a good gauge on you guys, figure out where your all heads are at. So sound off, vote on that. So, besides all that was going on, lot of specials that we got coming up from WWE and then AEW, and I can't help but be reminded back to some of the cool stuff that we had happening as far as specials over the 4th of July holiday. I know there was a Rocky marathon on AMC. They showed the first 5 Rocky movies, actually the first 6 Rocky movies, because after they did 1 through 5, they also showed Rocky Balboa. And look, I own all of them on DVD, but anytime it's on, I don't care. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning. If it's on, I don't have work, I don't have to do anything, I'm watching it. So that's always been the case. But I know 4th of July, I watched the PBS fireworks special and the Macy's 4th of July fireworks special. And yeah, I was telling Towns, I said, man, this PBS joint, I mean, they are going with the good old fashioned, just the good old boys. They are really going with the baby boomers, and right before the baby boomers, it's obvious who their target audience is, right? You want to go safe, you don't care for that hip hop, you don't care for that rap, you don't care for that, I hate rap, you're like, here you go. But when you're checking out the Macy's joint and you want to get a really good idea on who's who in rock, who's who in hip hop, who's who in, right, like, you go to Macy's to see what all is going on, much like how they've been operating with their Christmas specials as well, which when it comes to their Christmas shows, they do a fantastic job. It led me to putting up a poll trying to figure out, where everybody's head was at and everything. And I have an idea who was voting. I really, really do. But anyway, because I questioned the polling results for this one. This is a Twitter poll, so take this with a grain of salt. I said, so I'm watching NBC's Macy's 4th of July fireworks and a Capitol 4th on PBS. Woof. It feels like Macy's is all about current and relevant talents. PBS, we're playing it safe with good old fashioned baby boomers and older music. Yay or nay? 26% said agreed 1,000%. Nah, man, not at all. 11%. NBC Macy's special rule 22%. And top dog, I wish I could say if you want to vote right now, I left the voting open for 3 days. It's over now. PBS special rules 41%. 41%. Now, it's kind of interesting because you can't help but wonder for that 26% that agreed with my comment. You can't help but wonder, well, had that been taken off the board, how much of that 26% would have bled into the NBC Macy special rules? Kind of one of those deals. Shout out to Questlove. It turns out Questlove was the musical director for he was the MC, like all the music that we were hearing like throughout and especially when it came to the fireworks and all that. That was Questlove. I thought he did a fantastic job curating that and everything. And I got to agree with Nuna Pat comment there where they said they loved hearing Jimi Hendrix Star Spangled Banner on Macy's. Yeah, I popped pretty huge on that one. You know what else was really badass too and really awe-inspiring? Seeing my man Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz, I've been a fan of his music for many, many years, but I was telling Tams, I said, God damn, I said, our boy is 61 years old and don't look like it. And she was like, yeah, she was like, well, he's always had good genes. I said, yeah, but damn. Yeah, it's like, damn, what he drinking? I know how his parents look and who they are and all that, but it's like, man, that is just talk about blessed. Like, seriously, that is very, very blessed. And then, with the fireworks and all that, 4th of July, not everybody feels a particular way about the 4th of July. Look, if you're living here in America, you're looking at that big, beautiful bill that was passed, and you really, really question the future because somebody that is either a recipient of food stamps, somebody that is getting that Medicare or getting that Medicaid. Somebody their lives are going to be changed probably for the worse because of this bill passing and everything. And it's right to question. And let me tell you guys something. Anybody that is going, oh, it's going to be fine. Hey, I welcome the changes. Yeah, you can't help but say to yourself, okay, so what's going on with you as far as your wealth and your income goes? Understand something, folks. Wealth and income, that's two completely different things. Wealth is something that you can inherit. Income is something that you have to gain, you have to earn. And for everybody that's I ain't tripping over it. Oh, we're fine. Like you can't help but wonder, like, okay, are you like wealthy or like have you inherited wealth and the only thing you got to worry about is just maintaining that, and that's why you're able to say what you're saying, because there's a reason why I'm mentioning all this and how it ties back to wrestling. And that's because I saw some of the comments that Kevin Nash had put out for the 4th of July. Some of my friends on social media as well. Some of my friends were like, yo, it might be the 4th of July, love my country, hate my government. Well, Kevin Nash, he took it a step further and he put out some really, really good comments that I couldn't help but nod my head and go, well, you know what, Kev? I feel you on that. I totally feel where you're coming from, and um, it's one of those things where when you hear his comments, you go, because it does cause for pause. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, by the way, but when you read Kevin Nash's comments, you literally you go, he's got a very valid point. I'll actually read to you what he said. It's not lengthy at all. He kept it short and sweet. So I give him a lot of props for that. And while I'm pulling that up, we got the new Superman movie that is going to be doing its thing this weekend. I'm very excited. I already have my tickets. I'm going to be seeing it in IMAX with Tams. So I am looking forward to that. I'm still looking for it, by the way. I thought I had put up Kevin Nash's. Here it is. Kevin Nash said, "Happy for," and I will do a review for Superman. I'll probably maybe upload something as a quick short, FYI. It'll definitely be posted up on Friday, so that'll give me an opportunity to test out this new mic and everything. So we'll see how that goes. Kevin Nash said, "Happy 4 more trillion in debt today. Never felt this proud as we continue to destroy the empathy we once held for those less fortunate. So I guess happy wealthy white 1% day. Enjoy your small regional hospitals while you can. Things just continue to get greater. Happy 4th." And I just loved how he carried the hell out of this one guy who said, "WTF does being white have to do with anything?" To which Kevin Nash says, "Are you worried about being deported, cracker? Sit in your Alabama double wide and shut the up." I had to catch myself on the profanity because I'm trying to not cuss as much, but yeah, like I popped hard when I read that comment, and it was just but seriously, this is what's going on right now. There's a lot of it's really weird seeing how some people are like, "Oh, everything's fine, everything's okay," and then when they're somebody I mentioned this earlier, somebody works in the federal government, or at this point, they used to work in the federal government, and then now they no longer have a job because of all these changes and all of that. Look, I originally was supposed to go to American University. They were the first girl to ask me out to the big dance, and I said, "Let's dance." I did everything but not accept their financial aid packet because I was waiting to see it generated and get a really good idea on. And once I did get it, it was like, ooh. And right when I was about to sign off, something said, "Nah, just wait, just wait." And luckily, I heard back from University of Maryland, and it was like, "Hey, we want you." And it was like, "Well, wait a minute. Well, let me go ahead and accept their joint, and then let me see what their financial offer looks like." And once I was able to see their financial offer, it was, "Oh, well, I know where I'm going. I'm going to UMD." But I mentioned American University because American University, they made the news. I would somehow like to believe that it ties into somehow, I think, but I could be wrong. But I look at the fact that they let go of 40 of its faculty members, including a decent amount in the School of Communications program, which was a program that I was supposed to be heading to for my journalism degree. I remember when I was telling Tams, I said, "Good God," I said, "I dodged a bullet." I said, "Look at this." And I showed her the article, and her mouth just dropped when she saw that. So, like, somebody is somehow being directly impacted by the current government's, right? It is having some type of a domino effect. So, I thought Kevin Nash had brought up a really good point there. Something else that caught my eye since last I was on the air with you guys, the tragedy, and I would have mentioned this at the very top, but I didn't want to be too long winded and,
I wanted for things to be a bit on a happy-go-lucky opener, but I want to get really serious here for a minute. The Texas flood tragedy that went down late night July 3rd, going into the wee hours, beginning of July 4th. We get a lot of listeners from Texas. I'm always checking out, where people are watching from or listening from. I'm able to see those analytics, and we have a decent amount of folks from the Texas area. So, y'all in Texas, I'm definitely thinking about you all and anything that I might be able to do as far as maybe spreading some type of awareness for GoFundMe. You need a plug or whatever, just reach out, let me know. Happy to help. Happy to help. But that Texas flash flood that went down, just so sad. And for those of you that aren't really sure what had went down, I jotted some notes. And without going overkill, I just want to feed you guys the main bullet points. So essentially, July 4th, there was a devastating flash flood that hit central Texas, and particularly it impacted the hell out of Hunt, Kerr County, and along the Guadalupe River. And we had a total of 20 inches of rain that fell in that short period of time. And it overwhelmed the region's natural waterways overnight from late night July 3rd going into the wee hours of July 4th. And one of the hardest hit areas was Camp Mystic, which is a Christian girls' camp. You had 5 cabins that were washed away in the early morning. Now, as it stands right now, and here's why this is like a really big deal. As it stands right now, 100 plus have been confirmed dead, 28 of them children, and over 40 people are still missing. That's where we're at right now. Survivors are being reported, or rather, survivors of this devastating storm. They reported little to no warning of this flash joint. And when the governor and other high officials have spoken about it, they've basically said, look, we did get the warning that it was definitely going to be a flood. Understand there's a big difference between a flood warning and a flash flood warning. They thought that, yeah, we should be okay. We're going to be able to pass this like no problem. But by the time they realized how devastating this was going to be, it was already too late. The damage was already being done because this basically impacted people while they were sleeping. So just imagine that you're sleeping and then you get a rude awakening, and as you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on, as you're trying to get your bearings together, like it's already too late. You're taken. Just Kerr County has no siren or emergency alert system for flooding. Yet emergency responders and volunteers that's been working nonstop since the morning of July 4th. Shout out to Matthew McConaughey, who's calling for national support. And, this tragedy, it's basically reignited the talks and the importance of improved flood alert systems, radios, river gauges, sirens, app alerts, the whole 9 yards. So again, my thoughts, my prayers, my condolences to everybody that's been impacted by just that horrific flood. Now, Sade Perkins. I'd be remiss if I did not bring up this woman's name. So during the coverage of the Camp Mystic tragedy, a woman by the name of Sade Perkins, who is a Houston Food Insecurity Board member, she posted a controversial TikTok where she claimed that Camp Mystic was a white-only Christian girls' camp and questioned why the national media cared so much when minority children die every day without attention. She called grieving families MAGA Christians and accused media and society of racist double standards. without a doubt, her remarks, her comments have been deemed incoherent, insensitive, and divisive, especially with regards to the fact that victims are still trying to be located here. Okay. The Houston mayor, John Whitmer, has permanently removed her from the board, stating that her words had no place in public service. Of course, the backlash has raised serious debate over race, media coverage, and timing during a disaster. But, vast majority of folks agree that this was not the time or the place. This is a time for empathy right now and utilizing your power, your social media influence in general to, okay, what can we do to help? This flash flood that happened on July 4th, understand something. While many people were preparing for fireworks, people weren't preparing for devastation. You feel me? I mean, this story, it's so heartbreaking, as kids were just trying to enjoy their summer, meet new friends, or maybe revisit their friends and enjoy some R&R and all that other cool stuff before going back to classes in the fall and all that. And to have people like a Sadie Perkins, who decided to make this be about race and politics, while you have many folks out there trying to figure out if their kid is still alive or if their loved one is still alive. It's heartless. The timing, the tone, her message, it's very lacking. It's very, very lacking. And as far as black communities that were deeply impacted and there was major media attention and all that, I mean, we don't need to count the ways, but I mean, I couldn't help but automatically think about the 1,400 deaths that came as a result of Hurricane Katrina. And this had impacted a lot of predominantly black, low income neighborhoods in New Orleans. And then due to the levee failures and the flooding and, media coverage, they did mess up initially when they were covering Hurricane Katrina, because the way media was portraying black survivors during Hurricane Katrina, they were negatively labeling survivors as looters, which later was retracted. I want people to know that. The disaster, it also sparked a lot of conversations about race, poverty, unequal emergency response times, and everything, right? And the impacts of what happened with Hurricane Katrina going back to 2005 still impacted to this very day. Now, of course, when I mentioned what I mentioned with Hurricane Katrina, that was back in like 2005. We can go 2 years ago, back to 2023. Anybody remember the Alabama tornado? In case you forgot about that, just a couple of bullet points. There was a powerful EF2 tornado that tore through Selma, a historic city in the Black Belt, destroying churches, homes, daycare centers, areas central to Black heritage. It made national headlines, especially due to the strong community response and historical significance of the region. Hurricane Harvey, 2017, one of the costliest U.S. storms. Harvey dropped unprecedented rain on, I think it was Southeast Texas, including a significant impact that it had on Black and Hispanic communities in Houston. The disaster renewed conversations about climate justice and urban flood inequities, though media coverage was broader and not narrowly focused on race. So when you take, a lot of these things that I just, mentioned, and think about this Sadie Perkins woman, and her remarks drawing the criticism. Understand something. Perkins' remarks drew criticism because they came during a real time disaster, appearing to suggest racial bias in media coverage. And historically, tragedies involving black victims like Katrina have had unique media narratives, often problematic, but still resulted in major national attention. So, this person, this should be about coming together. This should be about grieving. This should be about healing. It should not be about division, and it definitely should not be about race. So these type of people, very bad. We don't need these type of people. So just that really irked me out. Just reading her comments, seeing what she had to say, it was like, go to hell. Like, seriously, go to hell, because you're not helping the problem. You are part of the problem. So, like, just go away. Real talk on that one. Let's switch gears up, and let's tackle some more wrestling news headlines. Some more stuff that we can get into here. So Tyler Bates, he recently provided a update on social media as far as what's going on with him health wise. Remember, we've been toying around with some ideas for Tyler Bate, and just I think one of the things we talked about was how maybe eventually we could see him maybe dragging off, maybe even Penta, try to do something there with Judgment Day and everything. But he shared an update basically saying, hey, I am healed. I am just waiting patiently. Get back in there. So he's basically on the sideline. He's ready to get tagged in. So maybe, probably after SummerSlam is what I'm estimating, or maybe he'll be back even sooner. We'll have to see how that plays out. How would you all like to see Tyler Bate get back in there? How soon would you like to see him? Who would you like to see him lock up with? Sound off, let me know. Meanwhile, Jake Roberts went on record talking about the upcoming Netflix WWE Unreal special, calling it foolish. I can actually pull up his direct comments here. He admitted that he had not heard of the series, and after the concept was explained to him on his podcast, he said, like everything else, they make money with it. It might as well do that too. And asked about the concept of breaking kayfabe in present WWE Unreal, Jake Roberts said, I think it's foolish. I don't think that product will ever warrant enough money being made as far as the damage it'll do. And Jake agreed that the juice might not be worth the squeeze. I've already gone on record, but for those of you that maybe are not quite totally aware, my stance on that special, that is one of those things where I don't need to know how the sausage is made. I know enough as it is, given the fact that I've studied television production. I know about writing a screenplay. I know about writing a script. I know about putting together the proposal. What's our mission statement? What do we hope to accomplish as far as our viewers go? What is our